This is it.
Yeah, I know it is. I know,
This is it.
I know if he's rolling though.
It's rolling. You're rolling.
Are you rolling?
This
Okay.
is it.
Okay.
What do we do?
No, we just no. Hello, sir. We're doing a documentary. We're crossing America. I'd love to speak to you guys, see how you're feeling about stuff. Hello, sir. We're just wondering if you... Yeah, okay.
We're doing a documentary about America. Maybe it's not a good idea.
Hello, sir. We're doing a documentary.
Yeah, you have to go.
Right.
My Auntie Dora married a GI in the Second World War. They got on the last Queen Mary crossing to New York and settled upstate, had lots of kids. They lived the American dream. I was 10 when I first came here and I went to stay with her and Uncle Arthur, and they had a swimming pool. I'd never seen a house with a swimming pool in my life. It was America. I loved it. I loved it.
I first came to America in 1977. I was 12 years old, and I came on a two-week tour with my parents, and went to Hollywood. My mother took me to see Ike and Tina Turner. I'll never forget the Ikettes. There were all these women that came out, and they were all their legs were greased up, and they were shaking their booty, and I was like, I was very enlivened.
My Uncle Arthur brought me into New York, and we went to Ellis Island, and you see all these people that have come to America and all the changes that have gone on in America since all those people came to Ellis Island. The country just went, just exploded in these last 100 years or so.
I mean, look, I've been here for a while now, and I've always loved this place, really, but I don't know, I'm just not sure where it's headed at the moment. And, I mean, frankly, I'm not sure many Americans do either. And I don't know anymore if this is the country I fell in love with. Which is why I want to go out and find out what's going on out there. Are Americans happy? I mean, how do they feel about their futures? Where do they think this country goes from here? So, I don't know, I just think talking to the people in America will help me understand how I feel about America right now. Either that or it'll just be a nice ride across the country, but, you know, there's only one way to find out. So, I've got a car, got some cameras. Now, a mate of mine and I, we're going to head out across the country to find out what's on Americans' minds.
I always wanted to go across America, and when Paul came into the cafe one day and said that he wanted to drive across America, I jumped on the opportunity.
I bet there's going to be some right old characters out there. I bet it's going to be... it should be interesting.
Welcome to the car.
Yeah, thank you.
There we go.
So, all set to get to the heart of the American people, we start on our own doorstep, New York City.
Attention, please. Welcome aboard the Staten Island Ferry.
My name is Donna Lastarino, and I live in Staten Island, New York, and I work on Wall Street. If things were looked at the way they should be, maybe the situation wouldn't be so bad. You know, all these CEOs, they want to take this money, they want to do this, they want to do that, and they don't care what happens to the other people that need to work to survive. And they walk away with all these big packages, and them and their families are fine. I just hope somebody does something to make it better. I wish I could run for politics, I'll tell you the truth. But I don't have that kind of money.
So, do you think that when the economy collapsed, there were people out there that knew what was coming?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It was the Wild West. And so you went out there, and some guys got arrows in their backs, and some guys didn't. Some guys made extraordinary amounts of money. Sometimes you know that everyone's hurtling towards the cliff, but if you can make as much money as you can before you get to the cliff, that often seems to be the boom and bust cycles of Wall Street, so. That happens a lot. And let's not forget also, it's not just Wall Street. It was Main Street and Wall Street. Everyone was in this together.
The only thing that's going to really get the economy going is the unemployment rate. Everything needs to feed back into employing people. The more people work, the more people can spend money, the happier they are. The United States needs to move forward. They need to move past certain obstacles.
Okay, so in terms of a movement forward, do you think you'll see a difference in this neighborhood?
No.
So with New York under our belts, it was time to find out what the rest of America was thinking. Packing up the car with soup, oatmeal, and a camping stove, and a route determined by good diner recommendations, we begin our drive into the American heartland. New York to Los Angeles, and who knows what in between.
Recalculating. Take the next tram for Pennsylvania.
So Travis, what's your idea of a good night out?
It used to be go out to the bar, hang out, have a couple of drinks, dance, kick it around. Nowadays, with drinking and driving on the hype and the no smoking in the bars, a good night out is hanging out in the garage with my buddies. I have a bar at my house, so we'll hang out down there. That's a pretty good night out around here. It's pretty much hunting, fishing, drinking. That's what we do.
People happy around here?
Yeah, for the most part. But it's kind of an area that everyone wants to get out of, especially when you're in high school, you want to leave, but then somehow you end up coming back.
So, Travis, is there anything that gets you going about America these days? Anything that bothers you?
Yes, there is, actually. The big corporate giants like Walmart and Sheetz and all these gas companies, they're moving in, promising low prices and jobs, which is fine for anybody. If you're a department store, stay a department store. Walmarts are now grocery stores and hair salons and banks. And what they do is they run the small businessman completely out of business. And no one can compete with that, and they do it with everything.
Walmart can stick their beer at the rear end.
Kind of solidifies what Trump was just saying.
Oh, it's true, though.
Once the customer looks and says, oh, wow, I can buy 2 12-packs for $3 cheaper than what I can buy a case, and it's the same amount of beer. Where are they going to go? They're going to quit going to us. We're going to lose the money. We're going to go out of business. And then once we're out of business, then they have the market. Then they can raise the price. Then they'll make their money back, and they'll end up juicing the customer.
What do you foresee the future of America looking like?
I see it basically, we're going to end up, we have one place to shop. We have one place to get gas. No more choice. Just no more choice. We're like gerbils or hamsters. You know, we have our dispensers, our water dispensers here, our food dispensers over here. It doesn't matter how much we want, this is what we're gonna get. This is all we have to choose from. It's gonna be pretty crappy.
Yeah.
So what's great about America?
Beer. Beer's good. And we're allowed to drink it. It's one thing they can't take away from us.
I said we should go tobogganing in Pennsylvania. We could just finish the day now, drink our beers.
Hey guys, check out those signs. Let's pull over.
What? What signs? What are you talking about?
There's the signs. There's signs up there. The Amish signs. The Klein Brooks, Fresh Produce, Maple Syrup, James Honey signs.
Nice. Okay.
Got
great shot of Pasquale taking photos.
We're probably going to get chucked out again in a minute, so can you just grab this shot before we do? There's someone looking out the window, looking unhappy.
Right. Where?
We're on his lawn. Hello, sir. I'm sorry, we're just taking a picture of this.
Okay. Right, hey, Chaos. I saw the car before I knew what the hell's going on.
I tell you what we're doing, sir. We're crossing America, talking to people. Can we ask you some questions? Can we bring the camera up?
So is the... Oh, and we've got a little dog we had with you as well.
Chaos.
That's Chaos, okay. But he's being pretty calm right now. So, sir, the business, can you tell us about the business that you've had for 33 years?
Well, business has been off due to a combination of factors, one of which is the franchise McDonald's, which opened about 3 years ago, and that's helped grow our business down a little bit. We did good for about 15, 20 years, and we're able to pay the mortgage off, and that's been the saving grace in our situation, that we don't have that hanging over our head. And we've never done what a lot of people with homes have done, where they've remortgaged it to take a loan out to buy unnecessary stuff, basically.
Do you think people think you're going to be happy if you have a big house?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's commercials. That's advertising. Definitely. Yeah. They're buying into the fantasy.
Yeah. What do you make of that fantasy?
It's not real, and I don't know if this is the time that everybody's going to learn their lesson or not.
Think it might be? Because this has been...
you know what? I would hope. I would hope, but I look at our government. It's like I say, the government has been in place, whether it's the people in government, the corporations, the bureaucracy, the iron triangle there. The lobbyists, I sincerely believe that they can care less whether Democrats or Republicans are in office, because it seems to me they've been contributing to both sides in elections, so that whoever gets in still owes something. I would like to see a new Bill of Rights, of 100 rights, created by the people, that update it to our time, our situation.
Any other change you want to see in America?
Legalization of marijuana, prostitution, and we already got gambling, so let's get those other. By the way, the Swiss voted to legalize heroin over the weekend, and but they didn't decriminalize marijuana.
Heroin's better than nothing.
Is that...
If you just say your name and where you're from and what you do again.
Richard Caligiuri, Donegal, PA. Sell and make hamburgers and ice cream during the summer. Right there.
What you do in the winter?
I used to ski until I had this nasty lap dance accident about 4 years ago.
Were you doing the dance?
We closed up. I put down the bales of hay there. Started, some champagne, some cognac. Went to a strip club, and got on the main stage. And the strippers, she's doing all this. She's there, get ready. I'm there, get ready for what? She jumps up in the damn air, lands on me. I get up, I'm walking away like this, man, like Fred Sanford.
So, just as we were chatting inside, he just revealed that, what did you run for?
I ran for President of the United States in January 8th, 2008 in the state of New Hampshire. I was praying to God I'd get one vote, just one. I got, what was it, 254. Okay, now, United States Senator Chris Dodd of Connecticut got 204 or 208. He spent $17 million. I spent $6,500 plus the $600 suit my mother bought me from Macy's. That's amazing freaking result.
Sam Napoleon. Right now I'm down at Point State Park, which is where our Fort Pitt once stood, and I'm dressed as an English soldier that would have been stationed here in the 1750s.
And for your own living?
My own living, I'm a United States Marine stationed down at Camp Lejeune. I'm a corporal in the Marine Corps.
So you're on leave, and in your time off being a soldier, you get to be a soldier again?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
You like being a soldier?
Well, I'm a Marine, not a soldier, but
Sorry.
yeah, usually I do enjoy it. Yeah, there's days, you know, like anything else. You know, you study ancient Romans, they have the same complaints that I have in the Marine Corps. That soldier I'm dressed as now would have the same complaints I have and ancient Romans had. The same things that we enjoy, they enjoyed.
So where have you been recently?
Right now I'm down at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. I got back from Iraq in April. I had an 8-month tour over there. I was in the Anbar province, part of the surge. Sent us over there and do what they asked us to do, more or less.
Do you have a question in your mind why they ask you to do some of the things that are being done there?
Before I answer that question, I'm obligated to say that these are my personal opinions, not those of the Marine Corps or the federal government. But no question in my mind whatsoever.
So in your heart, you feel really as if you're doing the right thing?
Absolutely.
Right.
If we weren't there, they'd be here.
How do you feel about people who don't appreciate the efforts of the military? I mean, how do you deal with that on a personal level?
Well, it can become agitating on a personal level. Yeah, I don't think any less of those people. We need those people, you know, really. They balance things out.
So what do you love about America?
What do I love about America? We do have a lot of freedoms here that a lot of people, including myself, take for granted. You don't really know that until you go somewhere and you see the way other people live, you know, well, more or less survive. I don't even know if you would really call it living, but yeah, that's what I love about it. Like, you know, I can go to Walmart at 3 o'clock in the morning if I'm sick and buy medicine, or, you know, go somewhere to get something to eat whenever I want.
What's the best thing that ever happened to you?
Best thing that ever happened to me. Like, best experience, honestly, might be deployment. It opened my eyes to a lot of things. It's changed me a lot. It matured me a lot. I grew up a lot over there, obviously. You know, you're forced to. And what I got from that, yeah, really might be a better appreciation for life itself, better appreciation for what we have here, and for people I care for, really, because over there you learn pretty quick how all that can end, like that. So, that, honest to God, that might be it, really.
Sam, thank you, sir. I really appreciate that.
So what do you think of America's dependency on oil?
I wish now that there's so many alternatives. I wish they would develop it and really make it work. I think they should do things like wind and solar power. I mean, it can happen, but you'll never get rid of oil.
What do you mean?
Too many people want to drive big cars. You'll never get rid of it completely unless it totally dries up.
And if it does?
I think America's screwed.
We're at the Ronald McDonald House Volunteer Holiday Festival, I guess. It's a dinner for all the volunteers at the Ronald McDonald House who make the house that Love built work.
And what happens at the house?
Oh, well, it's a house for families whose children are extremely ill, and they would have no place to stay unless places like ours open their doors, give them a place to stay.
That can't be a bad thing, can it?
My name is Berenice. I've lived in Pittsburgh all my life, many, many years. I work at the Ronald McDonald House because I feel sorry for the little children. I work there 5 hours a week. I work on a computer. It's very hard for me because I see little 2-year-olds do it, and I'm having a lot of trouble. I knew nothing about a computer, nothing. I practice it every day I go to the library. I try to practice my email. I'm on Facebook.com.
What else do you like to do in Pittsburgh?
I usher at 4 theaters. I'm a duplicate bridge player. I work at the Hillman Cancer Center. I work in a thrift store. I also worked at 10,000 Villages, and I play blackjack on the ship. I'm pretty good at blackjack. And I also do yoga and Tai Chi. I have a master's degree, but you would never know it. Oh, I sell jewelry. This is Hattie Carnegie with diamonds around her neck. This is extinct. It's ivory. You're not supposed to be wearing ivory. This is Plastic. Plastic.
Randy, so I want to ask you a question. What do you think would make America a better place? What do you think people could do to make America a better
Forget
place?
about money.
Say that again?
Forget about money and greed and power. Live the way we used to live, with the doors opened and our neighbors next door. Now, I'm barricaded in my house with these bars on my windows because I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid of going out into it and what's going to happen to me. I'm really scared. I never used to be. I'm also a good dancer. Did I tell you I can dance? I can do disco, I do the jitterbug, I do everything but Latin.
Okay, Ronald, what makes you happy?
What makes me happy? Red shoes will do it.
Favorite movie?
My favorite movie? Ooh. Oh, that's a good one. Usually the one I'm watching.
Do you have nightmares about the Hamburglar?
Now, why would anyone not like their friend? That was a trick question.
But he steals all your hamburgers.
Well, we prefer to think of that as mischievous.
Have you ever met Colonel Sanders?
What's crossing the road? There's dogs. Do we tell the people in the house that their dogs are out on the road? And let's go to them.
They're lost. She said they've been running around for days.
I wish we could take you home. Yeah, there, look, there. Donut. They've been rolling around with a dead possum. Yeah. Which is actually really true. So, you could have one and I could have one, mate.
Yeah, I'd be into that.
There's no way we could have them in the van, is there?
What if we found what if we FedExed them to LA?
Ground or air?
Either or. 3 or 4 days by ground.
Mate, what are we going to do with you? We can't do anything with them.
Why did you want to stop, Paul? Leaving the dead possum and the lost dogs behind, we carried on west through Ohio. Pretty soon, we found ourselves at Cincinnati in a historic neighborhood called Over the Rhine. It was here that we came across a young local, a man who called himself Black.
One of the worst things I think of life towards me being down is me doing it to myself.
What do you mean?
Really, it ain't nothing nobody else. The government, the presidential stuff, all that, the killers on the street, the nice people, ain't nothing really that can do to you that you probably ain't already doing to yourself. So once you figure that out, you'll know you should just do what you're supposed to do. You follow your heart, you follow good, even if it's a mistake.
My mantra for life, the heart of the people is good. And when I forget that, it's time for me to travel. And when I travel, I take myself to the people. I sit in diners by myself, and people want to know, what are you doing here? And I tell them I've come to meet you. I've come to know the secrets of your town. Will you share with me your secrets? And my soul is renewed.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add to that?
My purpose is to arrive as I am and leave better yet.
The dogs, I actually spent a lot of time thinking about them last night. Perfect dogs as well.
Was that when you're on your computer? Or was that like in between the moment you got off your computer, that like 30-second moment when you got off your computer and then went on the bed? Do we just go there and then pick them, try and find them, and then handle the logistics after?
We could get crates here. We could buy crates.
Yeah.
There would be 2 bloody great crates.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't actually fit in the van.
Right.
So there's our first obstacle.
Right. I like the upside of having a dog, but I don't like the upkeep of having a dog.
Supposing we got past the crate's big obstacle, we go and get them, shove them in there, send them to a shelter.
You know, I had a moment there where I dog sat a friend's dog. Within 3 days, I was like so over it. You gotta give them too much. Too much of yourself.
This part of the country is really rough because the TVA came in here in the 30s, removed all the agricultural population, took all the people's land, and then groomed them to become the great white labor pool of the military-industrial complex in America. We built the bombs they dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. There hasn't been a natural spawning of the majority of the natural fish species in 60 years. They're having to lower the water table to up the energy output, which systematically destroys the ecosystem. Recently, they moved into Morristown, the Halliburton subsidiary that laces heavy metals with the contaminated uranium to produce heavy armor-piercing bullets. Hi, I'm John Worley. I'm a shitty folk musician extraordinaire, and I live in random Walmart parking lots. I was down at the Dark Star last night playing.
How was that? How was your night?
Oh, it was awesome, man. It was me and a kid playing drums, and I was running a little $80 Epiphone through a $40 amp, and then into a Roland keyboard amp with an octave pedal.
Right.
So it sounded like there was 4 hillbillies up there, but there was only 2. It's what you call downsizing in a modern economy. You know what I'm saying?
So, are you seeing good times for yourself in this economy?
Well, I work approximately 60 hours a week, spend $150 in gas, and end up making about $1.85 an hour.
So how do you feel about that?
Well, I can get up and go to the damn Waffle House. I can scrounge up enough money, come get me a cup of coffee. I live out of plastic bags, and most people that I know that live out of plastic bags are homeless. So what's that make me? Call my mama and told her to put her breeches on. My parents are a trip, man. Fall of '77, make a left here. And they're at a Black Sabbath concert eating a bunch of mushrooms. And the next day, my mom found out she was pregnant with me. She felt so bad that she started blaring Bach into the womb. You want to turn in this driveway right here. See where the last black mailbox is?
This is your grandma?
Yeah. She's a hoot, man.
That's my granddaughter. Her and John.
We all sing, don't we?
Yeah. That's my son picking a guitar.
One child.
Ain't you got a pretty voice?
Oh, yeah. That's your granddaughter?
The only one I got. All of them's boys but her. You want me to turn it on?
No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Everybody in my family sings gospel. I guess I do too in my own way. I play blues, man. I play cross hard. I live like the sparrow. If I got money in my pocket, it's in my pocket. If I don't, I don't. Hey, here you go. Here's one about my ex-wife. We need a little Woody Guthrie up in this shit. That's what we need. The artists of this country have neglected and shirked their responsibility in that we have a mythological function. We have to play what everybody feels, but nobody can put their finger on. And we have to have the balls to use that amendment and say what needs to be said and what everybody feels, but nobody's got the balls to say. That's all I can say. One show at a time. As you walked on down into that den of the heathen, yeah, and you took that counsel from a Philistine with that great big grin. My existence is not dependent upon finances. You know who gets along really well when the economy gets really bad? Poor people, because they was poor before and we poor now. Ain't no difference. Take your sling like David, baby, go on and cast that stone.
What makes you happy?
Tathagata. It's a Sanskrit word. Literally translated, it means the feeling of your toes in your shoes. When I get up and play music, man, and I put a tambourine on my left foot, I'm playing a 66 Wurlitzer keyboard, and I'm playing blues hard. I reach a moment, man, where existentially there is no difference. There is no separation between me, the artist, the feeling I feel, and the participation of the crowd as a listener. It's the best thing ever. It's the best thing ever. As you walk on down that road, you're gonna travel, girl. I just want you to know God loves you, baby. And so do I, yeah.
What do I love? I love my kids, I love my family, I love my girl. I love talking to people. I mean, I've had this job for 4 years, you know, and it's not for the pay or for the wonderful health benefits. I genuinely like meeting new people and getting a new perspective on life because, I mean, I don't plan on being able to understand everybody, but as many people as I get to talk to, I get a better understanding of how people operate, you know? My father passed away, and when he passed away, I realized that, hey, I gotta grow up. I don't want to watch my life pass me by. I want to watch it as I live it. I mean, I want to start my own business. You know, I have dreams like that. You know, I want to go see the world. I want to see how other people live. The world isn't just a city you live in. You know, the things you do here in some way affect somebody else in another part of the country, another part of the world. If there is a threat to the world with global warming, how are we as a world going to handle it? Because if one country's doing their part to, you know, deal with it, and 20 others ain't, the good that one country's doing is all going for shit. My thing is, how can we fix it? But as long as one person's saying that there is global warming, and two are saying there's not, and the third one doesn't care, we'll never get this problem solved until it's too late.
1, 1, 1, 1, 1, yeah, you might be the one.
questions?
What kind of question?
Just how you feel about America right now, that's all.
America is messed up. You can ask me questions.
So, ladies, you work in healthcare. What do you think of the system in general?
You go to the dentist, you gotta pay a copay. You go to the doctor, you gotta pay a copay.
You get
If you go to the
medicine,
eye
you
doctor,
gotta
you gotta
pay
pay
a
a copay. Even if you got eye doctor insurance, you still have to pay $200 for your glasses.
We don't really have healthcare insurance. We just have people we can go to give our money.
You know all these Wall Street guys that have lost all their money and, you know, all their...
That's their business. We didn't have the money to lose it first, so how can we feel sorry for them?
Yeah, we was already
We
in
didn't
debt
know
anyway.
nothing. We never seen that type of money. Why we got to pay taxes and go to work to build them out of the debt that they occurred themselves, and we've never even had that type of money to even try to go get that debt.
What advice would you give them now that they've got no money or a lot less than they used to?
Go to work, build themselves back up, start from scratch like we do all the time. That's my advice. Get it together. Don't throw yourself out the window, because we never do. You never really hear about black people committing suicide, because we ain't never had too much of nothing, so we don't worry about it. We know it's going to come or it ain't. We're going to make it regardless.
You think things are going to change in America?
If we
Yeah,
make
it's
it
gonna be a big change.
it's an individual process. You have to make a change for yourself. You cannot expect people to come and change things for you. You have to get up and do it yourself. And then maybe whatever somebody else is doing can add on to what you're doing for yourself, and to help you out better and to make life better for you. But you have to do it yourself. You can't expect nobody to do it for you.
What are you doing for yourself?
I work, take care of my kids, pray to the Lord. That's who I expect to help me out. That's the only person I depend on. The only one I depend on is the Lord. Other than that, when man won't, God will. And I don't expect man to do anything for me. All my prayers get answered. They might not get answered
Right
at
then
that
and there.
second, but
Right.
all my prayers get answered. And I put my trust in the Lord. Whenever I think, oh gosh, I can't take this, oh my God, this is too much, I always know he's not gonna put any more on me than I can bear.
Before leaving Louisville, we headed to the Muhammad Ali Museum, where, after having our picture taken, we met a teacher named Kevin.
I moved here from Los Angeles. I had my own theater company there for 25 years, and I moved here. I go into the Appalachians and teach some of the poorest kids in the United States, the Bard, a little bit of Shakespeare, and they come out completely different. One of the things about this particular program is that these kids have to say a pledge every day, and one of the things in the pledge is, I am not my mother, and I am not my father, and I'm not my neighborhood. I am me. You know, this is America. America is the land of the plenty. Everybody has opportunity. For some of us, the opportunity comes a lot easier than others. That's why I came back home. I came back home to work with my own kids. I'm from a town of 76 people in the Appalachians. I come from one of the poorest regions in the entire world. I left home at 14. I ran away from home at 14 and went to Los Angeles because I believed in possibility. I go into those neighborhoods and into the Appalachians, and all I want them to understand is that something different can happen. Shakespeare helps. I'm a gay man, 45-year-old gay man with 2 African-American daughters. I didn't have a choice where I was gonna vote, you know? But here's the deal, man. This is the thing, is that all my life, ever since I was a kid, the hippies came in, they're like, peace, love, everything's gonna be good, everything's cool. If we love each other, everything will be fine. No, it didn't happen. Later on in life, I began to think, you know what, I have to believe in it or nobody else will. And then here comes this man who is preaching exactly the things that I used to write on my school notebook. Peace, hope, you know, flowers. As like a 12, 13-year-old boy, the things that I believed in. As my father sat there going, nigger, 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 every fucking day, I sat there going, he's wrong, he's wrong, he's wrong. And I had to leave. And here comes this hope, finally. All my life, I've waited for this moment. All my life. And as a gay man, I watched my brothers die and my friends die. 89, 90, 91, 92. I bet I lost like 75 people. While the government sat there twiddling its thumb, one of them being my own brother. My own brother sat there with the disease, and I had to watch him go. And the night that they made him president, I sat there, and I just cried and cried for all of them that I lost. And all the drug addicts, and the punk rockers, and all that life, all the things we did so that we could say, fuck you, Ronald Reagan, that led to so many people being gone. And there he was. And he included me, and he included my daughters. My little girls were included I had almost given up. I had almost given up.
Hearing Kevin's thoughts on Obama made me think of another influential American leader, a man who brought great change to this country out of a small town in Alabama. And with this in mind, we headed south to Montgomery. I first heard of Montgomery watching a late-night TV show in Australia when I was 23. This is where I first saw and heard Martin Luther King. I'll never forget that moment as I sat there moved to tears watching him speak about the hope and possibility he saw for the American people. And now, here I was, 20 years later, heading to where it all began. We were hoping to meet people who were around at that great time of change for America. But first, we went to the Civil Rights Memorial, where we met Mindell Brown, who felt it was important to teach children about the sacrifices people had made for future generations.
And that stopped segregation on the buses, but it also led to the whole civil rights movement there, and it was the turning point in events that changed for people. Growing up here in the United States, very little was taught on the plight of the people that gave me the freedom and the rights I had today. It's sort of like reading the Bible in a way. You read these stories, but did it really exist? It gives a certain sense of place of who we are and the rights and freedoms we have, that we understand them, that we know what they are, and that we can actually appreciate them. We're going to stand up for our rights.
Next, we stopped at Martha's Place, a Montgomery landmark where we chatted with Martha herself, who, it turns out, had played her own special part in the Selma to Montgomery marches.
I used to fix bag lunches to meet the marches, to take, meet them with lunches. We fixed lunches at First Baptist Church on Ripley Street.
And at Martha's, we met the one and only Judge Price, who insisted we come to the courthouse.
The civil rights movement caught on, with Dr. King leading that movement. I mean, he is a powerful man with a powerful message. One of the most brilliant person and most courageous person I ever seen in my life.
We were also invited to a lovely Montgomery dinner party where we met Judge Lucy.
I've been in Montgomery all my life. I was born here. I'm 58 years old now.
And Lucy Lanau from Mississippi.
Black people lived on one side of town and we lived on another side of town. But, we had daily, contact.
I think everybody wanted a change, and it was just tired of the same old, same old.
It was a huge, huge issue, this race thing. I mean, it dominated our lives in that period of time.
I had 3 siblings, and I was the oldest, and they were little boys, and they were a lot of trouble, and my mother needed some help, so we had a wonderful woman she was like our grandmother to us, and she was a black lady, and she actually belonged to Dr. King's church. And so I heard a lot about him through her.
I used to listen to Dr. King's speeches at that time and knew that he was an important man. I didn't know how important, but, that inspired me quite a bit.
That was an exciting time for us, it was, making a difference.
All of it came together to enable me to get this position. I've been on the bench 26 years.
Those are the things that he talked about 40, 50 years ago, the change, He said one day it would happen. He wouldn't be here to see it, but, he felt like it would. He had been to the mountaintop.
As a judge, you've obviously seen a lot of criminals pass before you. In this state, Alabama, what's the general percentage, would you say, between black incarceration and white incarceration?
I would say, based on my experience, that about 85% of people who are incarcerated for criminal matters are black.
It's a shame that so many African Americans, men primarily, ended up in the penitentiary over basically crimes that could be worked out through the community.
If we could solve the problem of the drug trade, the illegal drug trade, and the poverty, and the way that they intermesh, we could solve most of the problems that we have, and the prisons would be practically empty.
You can't just ignore the problems for 2 centuries and think it's not going to come back to haunt you.
To be the greatest nation on earth And to have so many poor people among us and such a wealthy nation is something that our leaders are going to have to get a handle on. Until we do, we're just not going to be as great as we can be.
I really believe that until a society can embrace the notion that, you know, your welfare is my welfare, your well-being enhances my well-being, things really can't improve.
Of course, the highlight of Montgomery was going to the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church, the spiritual home of Dr. King, where once again I was moved to tears in remembering the man who gave so much for so many.
Martin Luther King. I say to you this afternoon that I would rather die on the highways of Alabama than make a butchery of my conscience. That's right. I say to you as we march, don't panic and remember, I'm asking everybody in the line. If you can't accept blows without retaliating, don't get in the line. If you can accept it out of your commitment to nonviolence, you will somehow do something for this nation that may well save it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have some very sad news for all of you, and I think sad news for all of our fellow citizens and people who love peace all over the world. And that is that Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight in Memphis, Tennessee.
It was just like something had stuck me in the heart. You know, because for the first time we had a voice. We had somebody speaking, you know, and had a voice and that people was listening to. And it made a difference. It made a difference.
This could be our guy.
All right, let's see if there's anything. You find anything?
Hey, boss.
What's going on, man?
How you doing?
All right.
You buddies?
That's my dad.
Oh, it's your dad.
Yeah.
How are you, sir? Hey, boss.
Hey, man. What's up?
We're just traveling from New York to Los Angeles to California. And just literally moments, just like this, pulling up, talking to people, seeing what people are thinking.
You got a recorder in your pocket, don't you?
He's Phil. I've got a sound thing, yeah, but he's...
Well, he's videotaping it, so, I mean,
like,
he sees me, and you got what we're saying right now. Right?
Yeah, but you know what? Unless you sign a form, and we're not going to use any of this.
I mean, do you wish Obama was your president?
I know friends that would shoot him right now, if they could.
Why?
I mean, this is like the Wild West here, man. It's different.
Is it really? Yeah. Is it really like that?
It really
This ain't the UK. I don't think yet that this country has met the true person that's gonna bring back the America that I had when I was a kid.
What do you think that is?
This new society, I think we owe them something. See, they're not like the old school darkies that had to work and whatever. I mean, most of these young school darkies, they just think that they owed everything, you know? And they want to steal everything. They don't want to work for nothing.
I don't have anything against blacks. You know, I'm not, like, prejudiced, but I am prejudiced, or I wouldn't be carrying this. Against the ones that, like, we're out here minding their own business, that come up and want to rob you and shoot you. And, like, here, that's what it is. So I wouldn't advise you to go too many places around here. You know,
unless you want your camera stolen and your head knocked in.
You know, like I said, I'm not prejudiced, but I will shoot one of them. You just look around, all these people, most of them have a gun in their back pocket.
Oh, yeah, we all got guns. But black people, hey, they're cool as long as they don't bother me or my children. No, I don't let them get close to me, you know. You can talk to me from here. Don't come up any closer to me. I had to open up something on you. I live across the river in Arkansas, and not even 10 miles.
Right.
But the Negroes over there are different. They're different. They're just different.
In what way?
Well, they're more old school.
They know they're Negroes.
Yeah.
I had to break up the party, but we're losing light.
Okay, we gotta go.
Yep.
Guys, thanks a lot. Cheers.
What is that?
behind the spot where Martin Luther King was shot.
कैसे बाजी करूँ ओके
I'm gonna help you.
oh yeah
Good for you, Miss Nina. Eat.
Indian food
No, American food good for you. Makes you fat.
my interview
Oh, okay.
We're talking about America. What do you think of America, sir?
Well, it was the greatest place in the world. Right now, it's going broke. I am anyway. 1371. Y'all have a good interview.
Thank you, sir. Do you have a problem with racism?
No.
Do people say
No,
bad things to you?
no. Good people. Me by yourself, morning 9 to 6, 7 sometime. My boss man sometime 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, but no problem. Somebody together like me.
So no racism then?
No problem, no.
How are you, sir?
Doing good. How about y'all?
Not as good as you'll be doing. Is that your beer?
I'm fixing to do a little bit better.
Hmm.
I need to hire y'all to come down there and film a deer hunt. Come down there and kill a deer. Get on film.
You going deer hunting?
We kill big deer.
Today?
No, we can though. We got big deer down the road.
Do you, when you go hunting, do you go for the food or just to kill the deer?
No, we eat the food.
Yeah. Nana, thank you so much for talking to us. Take care, okay? All right.
What are y'all documenting? Something?
Yeah, America.
Yeah,
what's important to you right now?
Oh, well, to bring the economy back up. I ain't working 3 weeks, so I mean I got a 4-year-old little girl and she ain't gonna have much of a Christmas this year. So, you know, just anything that'll bring the economy back up would be the best thing. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's black or white or whatever. People's people to me. You know, I try to help whoever I can. If I can't, you know, I try to get them help some other way. So, but other than that, that's about it.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah?
Did you know that there is a verse in the Bible which has been translated into more than 1,100 languages?
Suspense is killing me. What's the verse?
The verse is John 3, chapter 16.
Go on then.
Want så lev het God de world ni mar de ewaglio kan he. In German it says, Den also God wat die Welt getlim dan die sin, ik wetten zoon niet rollen.
How many languages did you say they did this in?
In 1,100.
I'm going to bed now, so I'll see you in the morning.
Hang on, I'll finish with Finnish. Silanin eon du yoramlan. Melkai ide Guzumangali, a restaurant at the Khan.
Horrible.
Horrible. And twice. They got it in Hindi, Italian. Poi ci io han tanto amato il mondo.
So, Tom, how do you feel about where America's heading these days?
I think, you know, it might sound a little bit bold, but I think the lower class in this country is pretty much, I mean, they're slaves, pretty much. And, you know, they don't have the education to see that, unfortunately. And, you know, that's the foundation that everyone gets rich off of. You know, it's more like corporations are running things than governments.
What is it you would say about big business and the effect it's had on America?
You know, if there's something to be gained financially, it seems like that's the way the country is going to move. And I think we've gotten to a point where that's finally trickled down to every man, woman, and child that's here. There's so many people that are in debt that they'll never get out of. And I think that debt was created on purpose, pretty much to keep things the way they are. Keep the rich getting richer and poor stay the same.
We have to work to change the society, to create at least pockets of paradise. The other point we have here, who are active in deeds of charity. Let's talk about that. What is this who are active in deeds of charity? What is God talking about? He wants you to be active in deeds of charity. Yes, ma'am.
I think to be seen giving by Him, by God.
Right.
So you give what He's blessed you, so you bless others.
That's right. To be seen by God giving.
That's right. Well, charity can also be a smile. You know, smile is so important in a world like we living in today. You know, to have people to be able to smile.
Yes.
Look at each other from a human perspective.
Excellent, excellent.
How do you feel of America's present situation?
I think America as a nation is probably transitioning from childhood to adulthood. Maybe, I would say, an older teenager. We have to learn how to check our appetites. You know, we have to understand the problems that greed will cause us as individuals and as a society. In our nature, it lets us know that how we want to be treated. Therefore, it suggests to recommend that we treat others the same way. We can decide whether we want to rise, you know, and shine, or whether we want to stay asleep.
Now we're running out of time, but I want to make a few comments here, and then you all have been so wonderful and gracious in helping us to look at these qualifications of the believer. There's much opportunity in America today for Muslim leadership. However, for the most part, we have been lulled to sleep by practicing rituals without understanding. Well, this is the problem with religion in general. We've lost the meaning. And now we're just going through the motion, as the young people say.
Well, I don't know. I agree with faith, but just not the Muslim faith or the Buddha faith or, you know, that. The Quran or whatever, Quran, all that, you know, those, you know, they believe that you should hurt people, kill people. You know, that's not right, and, you know, that's not what God intended for anybody to do. So I disagree with, you know, that type of belief.
Perhaps certain people have misinterpreted what's written in those books.
And they could. I haven't read them myself. You know, it's what I've heard. So I don't know. I don't study that faith or religion, but what we're supposed to be based on is the Bible. Though we were just put here, you know, we're just vessels here temporarily till the Lord comes back. So, and then we'll all be gone to either heaven or hell. So.
This was started by an individual and his wife. This was a vision of his to give something back to the Lord. We're still growing. There's still projects that are ongoing. One of the main projects right now is the Lord's Supper. We've got the table, Jesus and 5 disciples. We'll eventually have all 12 disciples. That'll take another year or two to get all of that there.
What does the cross mean to you?
To me, it's Jesus and his life and what he gave for us. I think, we adore you, O Christ, and we praise you because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. I think that statement right there says it all.
If I was an alien and I just landed on planet Earth, how would you explain that to me?
That Jesus came into the world to save all of us from our sins. He was a gift from God.
Do we not save ourselves from our sins?
No. I think we have to depend on God.
So there's a lot of different religions. What makes this one work for you?
I guess you just believe that God gave us Jesus to save us from our sins. And it's a very powerful story that has transcended time. And so, people still believe and they still turn to Jesus and they still turn to God. And it's all over the world. It's not just here. It's everywhere.
What do you think of Islam?
That's political.
That's religious. It's become political, right?
Yes, it has.
But if I said to you, hello, my name's Paul and I'm a Muslim, what would you think of that? Do you think I'm worshipping the wrong God? Or you just think that's my belief, no problem?
Well, we do have Muslims that come in here to visit. I try not to get into religion because here we are for everybody. We don't focus on any one religion, any one faith. We are non-denominational.
What about building a big Buddha?
That would not happen here.
If America was a person and was a Christian, would you say that America in the last 200 or 300 years had been a good Christian?
I think there's always room to improve ourselves, and let's just leave it at that. We are challenged. We are definitely challenged.
You believe in God?
God?
Yeah. It's come up a lot as a theme, and it just kind of like occurred to me that I don't really know what it is that you...
The problem with God is that when the world was a big place, the people over here called it this, and the people over there called it that, and they developed their little belief systems, right? What they don't realise is they're actually believing the same bloody thing, that there's an acknowledgement of something bigger. It's just got different names for it, and different pictorial sort of images and symbolism and analogies and metaphors for it. And everybody takes this stuff literally. Nobody walked on water. It's a metaphor for, like, have a little bit of faith and it'll be all right.
I almost died once when I was 24, and I was driving along with my girlfriend in the country, and we went around the corner on a gravel road, and I lost control of the car, and the car rolled 8 times, and I was thrown from the car, and I broke my neck, and I broke my back, and I broke my coccyx. And I laid in a gravel ditch by the side of the road for like hours. And they didn't let me move anywhere for 3 months because my neck was broken. I couldn't explain why I lived when I should have died. And I became so grateful for my life. I became so grateful. And I guess at that moment I thought that there's got to be something more to this than us. I couldn't explain it then, I can't explain it now. But just the fact of being aware of that gives me belief and it gives me faith in something greater than us.
Yeah.
I've wrestled with my own explanations for existence and spirituality. And I always kind of lean towards kind of Buddhist, karmic kind of values because my mother taught me if you do good in your life, you'll get paid back. And if you do bad in your life, you'll get paid back.
Yeah.
Just shut that gate.
Sure. Shut the gate. How's that for you, Ken? Is that good?
I guess this is where I'm most comfortable.
Can I say hello to the horses?
Sure. This is Nifty, and that's Prince.
Thank you very much for having us out here. This is amazing. Yeah, I'm from England, and the whole Texas cowboy thing, it's like out of the movies for me. So this is fantastic. So how's life for you here? Tell me about your life here.
Well, moved up here about a year ago to start a cowboy church. I'm a pastor of a cowboy church. So we are a little bit different church in that we don't have carpet. We don't have steeples. We'll have church right out here if we want to. So anyway, we're laid back, and we're just able to tell people about the Lord. We come together as a body of Christ, and worship together, and then by that show people that you're living a Christian life. And then also tell others about it.
And you said to show people. Sometimes I get the impression that some people do things to show. You know, some people, they sit there and then they see the next door neighbor's got a bigger car, and now they feel unhappy.
All that keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah. What do you say to that?
I think that's why the world is in debt. That's all fake. Just to look good or to look like you've got money or whatever the case may be. A lot of our churches are even filled with that nowadays. Just be you. Stop trying to be somebody that you're not. One of our sayings is come as you are, inside and out. I don't care if you got a Coors Light jacket on or whatever. You come like this right here. If you just come out of the feedlot, you just got through feeding, you got cow crap all over you. Come on in. All we're going to do is tell you about the Lord. So we not judge. The Bible says not to judge, and we take that literally. We don't want to judge. I'm not going to judge you. I don't want you to judge me. I'm not going to judge anybody that walks through our doors.
So at times like this, with so many people in America in such a difficult place, how do you keep your faith? What makes you think there is a God?
The Bible says that we should know that there's a God just by watching the sunrise in the morning. That's why cowboys are so easy to talk to about God. Because if you go out early in the cool of the morning and you're sitting on horseback, sitting up on top of a little hill, and you watch the sun break over the rise, and you watch the moon go down and the stars disappear, and all in nature in itself, whether it's deer, varmints, or whatever it is, you know that there's something bigger than you are.
People tend to have different names for what you're describing, don't they? Buddha, God, Allah. Do you think it all amounts to the same thing?
Same thing.
Wow. There you go. Beautiful. I just have to shake your hand and say thank you so much.
You bet.
Absolutely wonderful talking to you,
good
sir.
to meet y'all.
Yeah, you too, absolutely.
Have a good trip.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you very much, sir.
See you later.
Have a wonderful day, sir.
Wish I was.
Oh my God.
How great is this? It's amazing. The Wild West hero. Sometimes I look up high and then I think there might just be a better life away from all we know. That's where I wanna go, out on the wild side, and I wish I was. Fire so bright, I'd be the Indian spring.
Do you have a faith?
Oh, yes.
In what?
I think if there is any kind of divine spirit or consciousness in the universe, then I think it flows through each and every one of us.
If that is the case, what you're describing, why is it we have this propensity to section off?
You're taught things that are competitive, not that are cooperative. So living a cooperative life isn't something that people strive for. They strive for a life that is materialistic. It's this general idea of success and, in a way, conquest. Conquer the world, conquer the environment, conquer the challenges that are offered to us. And then I think that that just leads towards separation. The dynamics that we have at our disposal are enormous, especially if we're not lulled into complacency by thinking that we're going to have a beautiful life by being able to go to Walmart and then going out and taking the kids to McDonald's, or by watching TV and being bombarded with all kinds of propaganda and promotion to buy, and then buy some more.
Do you think America personifies some of the notions you've been talking about?
Totally.
Why?
It's a young country, and I think it has a certain kind of arrogance. It thinks of itself as being the best, when the reality is it's far from the best. People like me, I think, would like to make a reality. We would like us to be leaders of the world again, but not as an imperial power. There is no reason that people can't make money. They can, and they can live well, and they can be wealthy, but they don't have to do it at the expense of other people. It's been said in the scriptures in whatever religion, whether it's Buddhist religion or Hindu religion or Islam, Christianity, Judaism, all of the basic tenets of the religion say the same thing. And, you know, compassion is right up there. And once we lose that sense of compassion for others and reduce them so that they are just numbers or just unfortunate people who happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, we've diminished ourselves. Obviously, the only change that can ever take place that's authentic is within ourselves, because that's the only arena that we have control over. So once you make a change and you make a change, I don't know about you, but okay, if you make a change and I make a change, that's 4 of us that have made a change. And multiply that by 100 and then 1,000 and then 1,000,000. And we have change. We have it. It's ours.
So is America ready for this then?
I think it is.
Can you, would you tell us the crime that you committed?
The ones I committed or the ones that they accused me of?
The one you committed?
The crimes were, one was larceny. Okay, one was a felon in possession of a firearm. Okay, in the United States, if you commit a felony, if you don't get pardoned for it, you're not allowed to have a firearm. Or it's an automatic 5 years in prison. Okay, and then the last 2, the felon in possession of a firearm and the last one was assault with great bodily harm. They were both self-defense things that I just had to take the rap for it.
So, Red, what happened with you in order to bring a change about in your being?
I met my wife, my second wife. And we have 2 beautiful children together. She worked at Walmart. I walked in there. I seen her for the first time. I got her phone number right then. And we've been there together ever since.
Oh, I love it.
Love at first sight. We're like, you heard opposites attract? Yeah. We're exact opposites. Now she has a temper and I'm the easygoing one. She saved my life. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for her, I promise you that.
How did she do that, Red?
She made me love something.
And what do you love about yourself?
Well, I feel that you have to love yourself before you can feel it, before anybody else can love you, so I love everything about myself. I have regrets, but I still love everything. I wouldn't be the person I am today without everything that went on.
So we're standing outside a gun store.
Mm-hmm. I don't use guns. It's actually a pawn shop. I was in there looking for jewelry. In case the law enforcement is watching this.
Now, some people say that guns are for protection. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, a gun don't kill you. It's the person behind the gun pulling the trigger that kills you. Ain't no such thing as a smart gun or a smart bullet. The person behind the gun is supposed to be the smart one.
You just said a gun is as smart as the person behind it.
Right.
Do you think America is a smart person to have behind the military it has?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do believe. But I do believe American bullies and goes into wars that they shouldn't be in. Why? Just because some country is getting invaded by another country right next door to them, are we, on the other side of the world, responsible for going over and bailing them out and putting our young men in harm's way?
What do you think is the biggest threat to America?
The biggest threat to America? We're spoiled. I mean, we're, what, 1/8 or 1/16 of the world's population, and we consume more than half of the world's products.
Why?
Anything's for sale in this world, you know, if the price is right, except for my family, of course.
After leaving Red in New Mexico, we continued west to Arizona. As usual, we checked into a roadside motel. However, things were a little different this time because wandering around the parking lot at 3 in the morning, we found quite a furry surprise.
Doing wandering around the parking lot. Where did you come from? What are we gonna call you?
Outside? You got to pee outside, okay? You got to pee outside. What are you gonna call her then, mate?
Don't know yet. And we're making gourmet oatmeal for my new little girl. You're gonna love this so, so much. It's so yummy. You're gonna grow up and be big and strong. We're gonna have so much fun together back in Brooklyn.
Chaps.
Yeah.
There's a gun show across the road. So what is it you get out of being a member of the NRA?
Who you guys work for? Okay.
We're independent. We're crossing the country, doing talking to people.
You have a gun?
No, I don't.
Well, you need to sign up with this guy, go in there and buy a gun. Where are you from?
I'm from England.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I just spent 4 years with a British SAS commando in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Really?
Yeah.
What were you?
Funniest bastard I ever worked with in my life.
Remember, sir?
No. When he would be in the middle of a firefight at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and he'd break for tea.
So you're a weapons specialist?
Yes, sir.
How's life being a weapons specialist?
That's pretty good. I enjoyed it. I was overseas for about 4 years, working for a couple defense contractors, and supporting our troops, supporting the allies, supporting the war on terrorism.
Is there anything in your heart that you feel, or in your mind, that you feel America could just be a little bit better on in terms of the way it conducts itself with other countries around the world?
I'd say a little more compassionate and a lot more understanding. You know, you don't always have to sling lead down range to get your point across. You know, buckle up, sit down, and talk.
Do you think the American government had a full understanding of the culture it was trying to have an influence on?
No. How could they? Like I say, most of the ones writing the laws and making the rules have never been outside Nantucket, you know? How can they make a rule? What do they know? Do they speak Arabic? Have they ever sat down with a Sunni warlord and had Turkish coffee with him? No. Have they ever been outside of Washington, D.C.? Doubt it.
So you were in the Middle East for 4 years?
Yeah, come back to the United States. Been here for about a year now. And it's changed a lot.
How?
The people, the economy, jobs. You know, where am I gonna find a job? Working for the mafia? You know? But yeah, it's pretty hard to find work out here.
So what do you foresee as your future?
It's kind of bleak right now. Always got to keep a spare magazine, though. Spare magazine and a little bit of extra fuel. Because if the work's not here, I'll just roll somewhere else.
So what about all that talk about green jobs and green cars and all that stuff?
Yeah, we should have been doing that shit a long time ago. You want to get out from underneath the oil? Start thinking, for Christ's sake. You know, start thinking. We got the technology and we got the people to do it. And you got enough people out of work that they damn sure jump in and help you.
What do you make of all the solar power and wind power and all that stuff?
I think we really need to get on that. And people are like, oh, they're ugly, or it ruins the landscape, or what? A wind-powered electrical turbine ruins? I think they're beautiful. I drove by, I forget where it was. I was driving somewhere and I saw a whole bunch of them out in the middle of a flatland somewhere, and I thought they were beautiful. Quiet, taking nature's power and turning it into energy. Yeah, that's using your head. Solar power. You know, God gave us 8 hours of sunlight for a reason. You know, store up enough power to run 8 to 10 hours of darkness.
Do you believe in God?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's got his hands full right now.
So with everything that's going on in America at the moment, what do you think America will learn from what's happened?
Today's challenges are only today's challenges. And when we band together and put our minds to something, there is nothing we can't do. There is no challenge that we can't overcome. I believe and I have faith that no matter what happens, we will come out the other side and we'll be stronger for it. You know, America is just incredibly strong. Are we flawed? Of course, but are we strong? Can we band together? Do we love the country? Do we love the principles upon which it's founded on? Of course. Faith and our fundamental values will get us there.
You having a good life?
I have good life. My proverb, when you grow corn, you will get corn. If you do good thing, you will get good thing. That's very simple. If you grow lemon, you will get lemon. Simple.
This trip has been the best thing that's happened to me in the 10 years that I've been in America. It reaffirmed my belief in people. The trip solidified my belief that we're all pretty much the same. I feel very optimistic about the country. I think it's gone through its worst. And, you know, people are just getting on with it, you know. I think that's a great sign of the kind of American spirit.
The spirit that we seem to experience in the people and the, you know, the faith that they've got in terms of getting through these times was kind of surprising. I wasn't expecting that. But, you know, that sort of typified a lot of what we experienced on this trip. You know, you'd see people, you'd kind of judge them for what they look like, and then you'd speak to them and they'd open up, and suddenly you're blown away by the wisdom that we witnessed out there. It was, you know, in beautiful places in the middle of nowhere, in cattle auctions, in little mum and pop stores. It was outside coffee shops. It was in the middle of the snow in Pennsylvania. It was in the mountains of New Mexico that we came across so much hope and faith and basically love, you know, that people are talking about. They're talking about compassion, and, you know, that's where the happiness might truly lie.
Until a society can embrace the notion that, you know, your welfare is my welfare, your well-being enhances my well-being, things really can't improve.
In the end, what it comes down to is the individual. I mean, you have to decide what kind of country you want to live in.
It's an individual process. You have to make a change for yourself. You cannot expect people to come and change things for you.
I believe that Americans and American people are, you know, I think we're a beautiful people. We just have to have that suspicion that things can get better, and hopefully they will.
You know what? This is the deal. The heart of the people is good.
And we can decide whether we want to rise and shine, you know.
If I could invent the American dream, I think it would be a society that gave more than it takes, that puts a value on happiness and love, not dollar signs in your bank account.
I have to say my own faith had been a little bit tested in recent years as to how I felt about this country. Getting out there and speaking to people really gave me a lot more faith in the country. Kind of reminded me of when I first came here. when I was 10 because of good old Auntie Doreen. And this was kind of like that feeling all over again of falling in love with the place, kind of like when I fell in love with it when I was a kid. So it was nice to meet America again.
Anything else you want to say about America?
I fucking love it. I love every single part of it. I love every destitute holler, every fucking broken down steel mill, every broken dream, every alcoholic granddad, son, father, piece of shit that this country is. There's a desperation about it, but you know what, man? We survive, man. We survive. I guess that's the thing about America, man. We always gonna survive. No matter how tough shit gets, America's gonna be here, man. You know? Nothing else, we'll get some duct tape. Get that shit down the road.
As you walk on down the road you're gonna travel, I just want you to know God loves you, baby. And so do I, singing, whoa, in the middle of the night. When life gets down on you like a knife, I want you to know I'm a calm circle in your life. Just like me, Shack, Shadrach, and Abednego sitting in a furnace talking about high tempos. I got your drink of water right here, and I just want you to know. I said I want to be a firm foundation. Was not me that had that hesitation. I'm like a holy Roman soldier, cast down a mountain like God's boulder. I'm gonna be moving on, you know I won't gather any mouse. I won't be here very long. And as you walk on down the road, you're gonna travel. I want you to know that God loves you, and so do I. And as you walk on down the road, travel, girl, I just want you to know God loves you, and so do I. And in the middle of a night, when life gets down on you like a giant, girl, go on and carry